Hello, everybody.
And welcome to Rockin
Rockin
the
the
Love.
Love.
I'm Robyn,
And I'm Gil.
and we're here with you today and happy to be here.
It is April the 13th, 2022. This is our 15th show. Woohoo!
That apparently makes him very
It
happy.
makes me happy to count the shows. But that's not really what's making me happy today. You know what's making me happy today?
No?
Yesterday was our 20th anniversary.
It was.
And we celebrated, boy. Woo!
20 years.
20 years. We had lunch at Sparky's. So
Burgers and fries.
Oh,
I guess the only thing that's really changed in that, what's changed is that you used to eat real burgers and now you have to find turkey burgers or impossible burgers. I don't know. That's funny. Anyway, we're happy to be here. It's been a great 20 years, a lot of learning. And that's why we're here, because we have a lot to share about relationships and how to get through them.
And sometimes, unfortunately, it feels like getting through. But the reality is that there's something that underlies it that's so wonderful. And I don't know if Robyn always knows that how I feel about that with her. But there's something underneath it all that is so affirming. And I really appreciate that about who we are together.
And I appreciate that too. I do. And I appreciate you being here, and I love us having this safe space to be able to share. So if you share with us who you are and where you're from, we'd love to say hello, like our show. And don't forget to visit us on all of our social media. There's lots of it. We hardly visit it either. So this is how I know. But we will definitely catch up with you if you go there. So today's topic, well, our theme for the month.
Let's say hi to the people real quick. Let's say hi to Wayne and Laura. Thank you for joining us. How are you? Thanks for the anniversary wishes too. Okay, now go on.
The theme for the month is Awakening the Garden. And I love this theme because I think it's, in spring, things start to spring up, and sometimes they spring up out of nowhere. Sometimes it's seeds that you intentionally, consciously planted in your garden. And other times it's just like magical. The things just begin to happen. So that's what we're talking about. Last week, we talked about what?
Clearing
the space. And this week, we're going to talk about assessing. But before we do, I want to talk about clearing for a minute, because Gil and I gave you a couple of different ways to clear a space. And so when we had a moment over the time that we haven't been with you, I was like, wait, we said we were going to try it. So much to his dismay and his stubbornness, I was like, come on, we have to clear. So we did. And we didn't remember the exact questions, but I knew there were three things we had to say, or, whatever, and an acknowledgement. And how did that work?
It actually worked pretty well once I got over it. Just in the moment, I was a little bit in need of clearing. Therefore, I didn't want to.
And by a little bit in need of clearing, he means he was in full out pissosity. He did not want to, and he had to really fight, I could see it, to be present enough to say, okay, let me sit and hold your hand and look into your eyes, which clearly is the big key. That's the big key, because when we're angry, sometimes we don't want anything to do with the other person. We don't want to look in their eyes. We don't want to touch them. We don't want to do anything. And so we sat and we looked at each other and said a statement about something that we wanted to acknowledge, that how we felt about what was going on, and then said another statement about how it could have been done better or differently, and what would have made us feel, better in the moment, and then acknowledge something about each other. And it was great.
It was great.
It was great, because by the end, it was like it didn't matter
It
anymore.
dissolved.
It dissolved.
It
It
did.
dissolved itself.
Yeah.
So I really suggest you try those out, and we will work on getting them together too for you also to be able to have a reference on our website to that.
So
And
what?
I'm actually was going to talk to the person possibly about being on our show.
Oh,
So
that'd be great.
yeah,
That'd be fantastic. So what occurs to me is over the weekend we did a workshop, and what you said reminded me, we look into each other's eyes and it's hard to be mad. And why is that? Because we see who the person really is, right? We're reminded who we're really with. And it reminded me of the workshop because we gave people a chance to go into their heart and see someone else and be seen in a new way. And it's powerful.
it is.
However it shows up in whatever relationship, whether it's in a primary relationship or a subsidiary relationship. I don't know what happens after that.
Subsequent.
But, subsequent, other relationships, whatever, it doesn't matter. Any
Laura
kind of relationship.
knew. I'll bet you Laura had the exact correct grammar out there.
She probably did, but she probably spelled it a little off because she's from the UK. But we love her anyway. Okay, Laura, we're giving you a bad time now. We'll stop. So anyway, the clearing thing was very interesting and helpful, and it takes you. It allowed us to move forward. It allowed us to let go, and it allowed me to release what I was feeling in the moment, and that was really helpful.
Well, and again, going back to connection, anytime we can connect, there's going to be a shift, because that's what happens. If you have to look in someone's eyes, you're connecting, and there's all kinds of things that are happening without it being said. It's the same thing, like, if you're in a store and you have a grumpy checker or whatever, and all of a sudden you connect with them and you say, how are you? Or how's your day? And they go and come alive. They shift out of space. So it's really about intentional connection. And I would say that sometimes we don't want to work through it in that moment. I mean, there's a payoff to our being mad.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we get some. You always get something. Whatever's happening, you're getting something out of it. And it's whether or not it's a kind of like a false sense of power or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But we still are receiving something, and that's part of what lets me anchor into it, because then I feel like, whoa,
right.
But it ultimately, what really matters? What really matters? Connection. Right?
Yeah, connection. And that's relationship. And that's why we're here, to talk about relationship and your part in it. So today we're talking about assessing. You want to say something about that? Because you have a lot to say about that.
I have a lot to say about that. So assessing. So we talked about clearing out space, getting rid of the stuff you don't need anymore, letting the thoughts and ideas that we that aren't serving us, letting them move on, releasing them from us. Well, when we get to assessing, it's really about now. So what am I going to need in order to plant this garden, to get what I want out of it? What do I need to do? What do I need to create in my life? What do I need to put into my life to get out of it what I want? And that's the assessing part. And what I found is there's a lot of things around that. We have the opportunity to really look at what we are intending for ourselves and for our relationships. And I think our intention is huge. And in this assessment, we have to determine, what am I going to intend? What am I going to put out there that I want? Because whatever I put out there is what's going to grow. That's what I'm going to get. And if my intention is that relationship is hard or sad or any of those things, then that's what's going to show up. I have to really assess what I want and how I want to live before I go into the other.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Thank you, Christine. Thank you for joining us and wishing us happy anniversary.
Yes.
Um, it's true what you're saying, and I'm gonna say, and we haven't talked about this, but I think that when you say assessing for you or for a situation kind of thing, what you want, I think we really have to go, because I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about where when we go to think about what we want, where are we assessing from?
Mm.
Right. Right. Sorry. Because
Yeah.
there is a whole, I was thinking about just society and everything. And there's this whole thing that Michael Beckwith calls a conspiracy for mediocrity.
Mm.
And that is that we are constantly being bombarded with messages of mediocrity, that that we're told that we're not enough, right? You need to use this product, you need to eat this food, you need to do this, you need to do that in order to become who you want to be. And so if we're trying to assess from that place, then we're trying to fix things, and we're trying it's as if we've already said that we can't have what we're putting out there, and we're working like double time for it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that I was kind of thinking from there, and I was thinking, I guess in short, it seems as if we need to go back to clearing in order to really assess on some level.
We have to be sure that we're in the place we want to be. Um, what I was thinking about when you were saying that was that we we um we often we often come from this place where when we do succeed, we do see what we want, then other people will, or other things will come in and tell us it's not really good enough, or it's not it's not something you should continue to try to do. And that was the other piece that struck me about the mediocrity in the world. It said mediocrity gets upset when you pass it by. And so not only do people tell you you're not enough and you need to do these certain things, but once you start to do those certain things or do other things that make you move forward, then people are upset that you're moving forward. So we have to determine really, where am I coming from and what's important to me in order to not get derailed by those things.
Right.
That's my point.
Right. It's a little woo woo, but it's a vibration. It's a higher self. It's a greater power. It's a inspirational point. It's you can't get there from what's wrong with me? Why haven't I done this yet? What if I'm too old? What if I don't have enough? What if somebody else is smarter? If you're coming from those perspectives, then you're not going to get there in that.
Because in essence, that's what you're bringing to the garden and planting. That's what you're
Exactly.
putting into your life, is that idea that I'm not really enough. I don't really, I'm too old. I'm whatever the thing is.
And it's challenging because I think that it's so undercover. Like we've got it so ingrained in us, from a backwards way, that sometimes we don't even realize that it's there. So it's really about getting in touch, I think, with that vibration first.
The vibration of what we want, what's possible,
Yeah.
all those things, right? Absolutely.
And I just have to acknowledge Christine again because she's coming to us all the way from Kenya. It's Christine from Kenya. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I wasn't thinking it was you, but it's you. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So you've
Thanks
got
so
Kenya
much.
and the UK, and where's Wayne? Wayne's in Ohio or something?
Yeah, somewhere.
Calgary?
Well, he might be in Canada.
Calgary.
That's right.
He's in Canada.
Wow, very
Wow.
International Day.
So good to have you all, you international love rockers. So great to be with you. Yeah. So I don't know. How do you all feel about this? How do you feel like do you start in your I know we try to. I know it's our practice, but I mean, can we really say that we start with that vibration of love and of grace and of gratitude, like in all things? I mean, I know, I believe me, I know we all try, but I know that we don't all succeed all the time. So, I mean, I'm just wondering, like, what you're thinking. So, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking we should take a break, let people know about New Thought Media Network, about give them a chance to grab a cup of coffee or something to drink, and we will come back. What do you think about that?
Excellent.
So,
see you right here in a few minutes on New Thought Media Network. Hello and welcome back. I'm Robyn.
and I'm Gil.
And we are Rockin the Love.
Rockin the Love once again.
Yes.
We're happy you're here. Thanks so much for being here.
And we're talking about assessing today in our garden. What are we planting? What are we wanting to spring forth? And so I'm going to start with what Laura Topper has said. She says, "Thank you for talking about that. Checking my intention and with what I am seeding forwards. I noticed myself recently going into comparison mode, even though I know that God isn't comparing me." That's intense and that's real. And that's the thing. We all know what we know, but it doesn't mean that we don't slip into this humanness of um comparison and doubt and worry and wanting to measure against someone else. And I think at the bottom of it, I think we have to make a choice. I was thinking in a minute ago, like how when we're kids, everybody's like, you can do anything. You can win that race. You can paint that picture. You can be the president. You can da 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 da. And somewhere along there, probably middle school, high school, they're like, you can't do that. You'll never do that. That's for real runners. You can't win that race.
You're going to make it to the NFL.
Yeah.
Hardly anybody makes it to the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a point at which this starts to, shift. And so I think after that stage, the next stage, if you have to hit the second one, is what are you here for? Really? We all know we're here for something. So are you here for greatness? And if we believe everything we say, that spirit, God, the universe, Allah, whoever, Buddha, that they are the one, the way, they are greatness, they are love, they are peace, they are infinite. We are them, we are one with the one. So if we believe that, then how can we be here for anything but to reveal the greatness, to reveal the brilliance, to reveal the love, to reveal the light, whatever that is, whatever that is. So are you here for greatness? And I think that's a constant check-in, because sometimes we get to a certain point too and go, yeah, I'm okay right here. This is good. It's not bad. This is good. I'm comfortable. I'm safe. But is it, are you here to live your purpose? And I don't know that the answer isn't good can be somebody's great if it's truly their great. I don't think everybody has to be here to.
Well, I think the thing is the word you would say after that end of that sentence of not everybody has to be here to be whatever. The thing is that we evaluate the whatever, and then we start ranking the whatevers, and so then we say, well, yours is good and yours is great and yours is
Yours more
good,
important,
right?
Yeah.
And we do that to each other, obviously, and we do it to ourselves probably more than anything. But that's the whole thing with assessing this life. Assessing is we're looking at what is it that we want to see sprout up. And if all we are looking at is, well, I'm getting everything is going smoothly, I'm getting my paycheck, and I'm able to pay my bills. Well, that may be exactly how life goes. But if we want to plant a seed of something bigger than that, we have to assess what it is we really want. If that's all we want, that may be fine. But I think most of the time we don't reach for what we want.
Maybe. And I think greatness is finding and fulfilling your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, because somebody is a secretary, but we met fabulous people this weekend when we were traveling, and amazing stories of adopting over 300 kids through their house and all these things. And it's like, that is greatness. That is it. And is that what they're measured by? Probably not, because to meet them, you wouldn't know that unless they were telling you. You would just know the woman who's a secretary, or the woman who is the checker at the market, or whatever. But what they're doing in their life, and who they are, is bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It's a vibration. It's truly a vibration. And if you're meeting your purpose, if you're fulfilling, your greatness, your gifts, the grace of God. Sorry, I'm not a minister. I'm not, but I did feel myself going into a thing. Talk. Okay. So, all right. Anyway, we're all ministers, but don't say that to them, because they get touchy about all the years and tests and things they go through. So anyway,
so that's another point. We then compare ourselves, and we think that if somebody has a particular position or title, they must be more qualified or better off than we are. That's what I tend to do. That's where my and the seeds I want to plant is that I see everyone and value everyone, and I have a world where I'm a part of this vibrant, exciting thing. I'm not looking up and being shadowed. I'm in it. I'm a part of it. I'm playing in the sandbox. with everybody. And that's the kind of relationship I want to have.
Yeah.
That's the kind of relationships I want to have with people. I mean, I look back, Robyn said we were traveling, and our very first day we met two people, and they both, interesting enough, said basically the same thing. Said, we said, well, so what's your, what do you do? Or what, anyway. And they shared, they've been a school teacher, and I've been a school teacher for several years, and not. And then I went to law school, and then I became a lawyer, and I did that for 30 years or something. And it was like, holy cow, what do you mean? It wasn't enough to be a school teacher? It wasn't enough to teach, and not so much, it's not about that it's enough, but it was just like, we can do whatever we want. We can reassess. That's the whole point of what we're talking about this time, is it's time to awaken our garden. We clear out some stuff that we don't need anymore, and then we look at, what do we want to plant? And it doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. Right. It doesn't mean it's going to happen this week. It may be that's a seed. It's an oak tree. It's going to take 40 years before it's really grown.
Which is when they went to law school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I get caught up in the just in front of us, right in front of me. I'm stuck there sometimes. And being stuck there doesn't allow me to get to the other, because I'm not putting the right seeds out there to get to the next level, because I'm stuck going, well, I'll never get there. And that's the whole piece about assessing. We have to be clear about what it is we want, not just what we want, but how we want to live and what our life is to be like, how we want to serve in the world, how we want to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think going back to practicing or living into our greatness, it's I have to be sure, or I have to check in and know that I'm not getting stuck in the littleness. I'm not getting stuck in the, how do I pay that bill? Or what if I don't do that? And really staying in a place of openness and really staying in the moment and knowing, trusting that it's part of the path. It's part of the path. It can't be anything but part of the path to my mission. And it doesn't, it doesn't look the way I thought it would. That's okay. What are you going to do?
Yeah. And that's the piece we get to after we do all the assessing and putting the seeds in the ground, is what shows up is another thing, because often what shows up, we go, well, that doesn't look like what I want.
Yeah, I didn't plant that.
Ultimately it is, right? Yeah. I never put one of those in there. Where'd that come from? Yeah.
So I know you wanted to share some stuff.
I just was digging around a little bit, and I was looking at some things, and when we're assessing what's going on for us, I found there's couple different deals, and one of them here is, what do I want in life? Questions to ask yourself. So I'm just going to share some of these questions. One is, what are the things I'm most passionate about? So when we look at what we're planning, we want to be thinking about, well, what gives me juice? What is it? What's going to show up that's going to give me motivation and depth in my life that I want?
But and I think beyond that, it's truly like, it's that place in you that really, it's where you get lit up, right? It's what is your genius, what is yours to do. There's it's the place that scares you sometimes, a lot of the time,
Well, I think one of the other questions that is here on this list is, if my life had absolutely no limits, what would I choose to have and what would I choose to do? And I think what you're saying is, that ties right into that, because what we often do is we set the limits before we ask the question.
Right.
So we start assessing the garden. We go, well, we really want to there's not room for that, or we don't have the right soil for that, or something's wrong, something won't let that work.
Well, we go back to what I was talking about, the limited thinking.
Yes.
We go back to what society has said. Oops, like we have this alarm that goes off inside of us that says, like, Danger, danger, Will Robinson, you must not pass this line. So we get close to something and we're like, yeah, no, it might not work.
Yeah.
When we really don't, and we don't take the leap.
Yeah. And I think that's a really powerful thing. Um, another really simple thing that I found was, if I had to sum up the last year in a sentence, what would I say? What would it be? And that sort of helps us look at where we've been and how does that feel, and how do we want that moving forward, or what do we want to amp up about that moving forward? Does that make sense?
Say that again.
If I could sum up the last year in one sentence, what would I say? If we can sum up our experience currently, if you will, I realize that last year's in the past, but it's relatively current to where we are. This is where I am right now. How does that feel? Does that feel good? Do we have other things to add to it? What do we need to do? That's part of this assessment thing.
I hear you, and I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I'm not sure. Like, I feel like as what we do when we're okay, as humans, when we're on like this kind of a journey, especially those of us that are deepening in our spirituality and all of that, and because we're constantly reviewing what we know, what we've learned, what we've believed, what's what we should believe, what's happening. We're constantly inquiring. We're constantly looking for that deepening, and I think a lot of the times we do a lot of informational shuffling, so it's
Okay.
not that it, it's the truth, it's the information we have. Again, going back to what we've been taught or what we've been told, we go, so if we have a reason we stopped here, we go back to that category and we reshuffle our why it didn't happen, but how it's all good, and that it's we're moving and we're doing it. So I think there's a balance of of letting it's tricky. It's a tricky thing, but you know what I'm saying? We don't want to just be in that place where we're making
excuses
yeah,
almost.
making excuses almost.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do get what you're saying then. Yeah, where we're making up why something didn't work or why something can't work.
Well, again, even why it can't work or why it didn't work, we're going to what's wrong with it, which is what we've been taught in our society. What's wrong? Why didn't it happen? Oh goodness, if we'd only
Done X.
meditated more, taken out a bank loan, or done whatever it is, so it's like, how do we move to that place of, because again, that's what keeps us stuck, right?
The if onlys.
Yeah.
If only I had.
Yeah.
If only someone had given me X, some opportunity. If only I had taken blah blah blah.
And this is where I think, what we're taught in this philosophy and in New Thought is to go to that place of visioning, go to that place of really sitting and creating that vibration that you want, because the outpicturing of whatever we're trying to do is coming from that energy that it gives us when we're thinking about it, right? So when we think about creating things and get excited, there's that excitement and that joy and that possibility, yeah. So how do we stay in that place and move forward and not go back? Because there's something that I read in a quote that I really like, and I think we should embrace on this journey is, this is a portal for possibility. So how do we move into this portal and really stay in that kind of, it's almost childlike wonder, Alice in Wonderland journey type possibility?
Staying completely open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we do that, Rev?
It's really simple. and we'll tell you about it next week. No, I mean, I think it's all very important. And what I was thinking about was, so far we've talked a lot about kind of, what's your life like, and I realized that all of this stuff is, what do I want my relationships to be like? What if I could picture my relationships in the future? What would they look like? And what is it? Am I planting that?
Uh-huh.
Because right now, some of them look like they're not very connected, or they're even less than not connected. They're disconnected, I mean, and some of them don't look like we're really having fun or those kinds of things. And what do I want in a relationship? Do I want to just play and goof off and be on the surface? Do I want to have relationships where I get to go deep and people ask me hard questions, and support me in
so
growing?
the question is, what do I want?
Mm-hmm.
And am I ready?
Okay.
Am I ready to accept it?
So we're assessing. Okay. Yeah.
So think about that. What do I want? And when
ready?
you think about that, are you really ready to accept it? And each time we say yes, we really are accepting more and more of spirit as ourselves, because it's all out there for us. But what do you want? And are you ready? Think about that. And we'll be back right here on New Thought Media Network.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Olmstead Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferlin Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a super special thank you to Dr. Tracy Brown, RScP. Thanks for being a super donor. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. I'm Gil.
I'm Robyn.
and this is Rockin the Love. We're happy to have you. We are having a good time today. We're talking about awakening the garden, and specifically, we cleared it out last week. This week, we're doing some assessment, deciding what we want to come forth in this garden of our life. So I proposed a question toward the end of the last segment. In an ideal world, how would I like to describe my life at the end of this upcoming year? And I think that is a really great question to ask in terms of assessing, because if we can see what we would like to be able to say, then that can give us information about what we need to get planted, what we need to get going, what we need to get started with, right? And so here's where all this goes. What's wrong with the face? What? She has a face, people. She looked at me with that face that says, "You're nuts."
No, that's not what it says. I'm a little challenged that we're going out there. I get looking at the end of the year and saying or knowing what you want it to look like and bringing it back. But it's like, can you go out to the end of the year and see your brilliance or whatever you claim and claim it now, see it now? Because the challenge is to know that it's now. Doesn't mean it won't look different at the end of the year. But if I can't see what's brilliant now, I don't know how I get there.
Yes, but if I'm looking out at, and I take a moment to just think about what do I see, then yeah, that gives me a vision into the possibility, which allows me to see that possibility, which allows me to plant that, allows me to plant that in myself, to have that held in myself, that I can, that is who I really am. That is where I'm really coming from. So this is the thing I wanted to go to. Are you ready? Or you got a response?
No, go.
No. I think we should do that for our relationship.
Oy, what?
I think we should look at where we want to be. I mean, not in terms of specifics, but what do we want our relationship to feel like? And are we willing to embrace that now as we look forward?
Okay.
In the next 5 years or 10 years or whatever. You know, we've been married 20 years. That's incredible. And why should it not continue to be more incredible?
I'm in.
Okay. And that's kind of this idea of awakening our garden. It doesn't mean that we didn't have a great garden last year.
Right.
But
you said the key to it. You said, and embracing it now. I mean, so even if we say by the end of the year, we want this to be the full-on thing that we want to have.
Uh-huh.
But the question is really, can you embrace it now? Are you ready now? Are you willing to, let go?
Well, I think there's a balance.
Okay.
I think there's a balance between embracing it now and being able to allow the garden to sprout and grow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you have to know, you have to hold in your heart what's true and know that truth in the midst of not seeing anything in the outer world that reflects that truth.
So what it reminds me of is when I took a writing class and a screenwriting class, and we walked into class on the first day, and our teacher said to us, you are writers. And he said, if anyone asks you if you're a writer, you are a writer. Don't tell them that you're a waiter. Don't tell them you are a writer. And it's like, on some level, it gave us all permission to truly be that, as opposed to thinking that only happens when you sell a script, that only happens when you blah, 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 that only happens when you. And so it's that little teeny difference. I mean, and I get it with a relationship. Yeah, obviously there's going to be a lot more emotions and a more constant, but it's still that opportunity to surrender to your greatness in every moment, to surrender to the greatness of spirit, to truly remember the oneness and who we really are and what we've come to do.
Mm-hmm. So if people ask you if you're married, what do you say?
Depends who they are.
Oh, really? Okay. This is new information.
No, what do you mean? If people ask me
If
if I'm
people ask
married,
you if you're married, what's your response?
yeah, I'm married.
Okay. Do you ever say, oh, yeah, not, it's rough. It's not so, I don't know. I don't know this marriage thing. I'm just saying, okay, go ahead. I'll stop talking.
No, I don't. I preferred not to answer that. Go on.
So my thought was, it's not an exact thing, but it's like what you were just saying. We have to declare our relationship with whatever it is, whether it's with another person, whether it's with our career, whether it's with our money. We're declaring it. We're seeing the truth of it now, whether or not it's out picturing. So there are days when I know for a fact you are not thrilled about being married to me. That's just how it is. And you, at some level, you're not sure you want to be in that space. I don't mean you're leaving or any of that. I just mean that's the truth. That's the feeling. And so if somebody says to you, are you a happily, maybe I should say this, are you a happily married person? Your answer might be, yeah, I'm working on it. Maybe. I hope next week.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be that, but I hear you. But yeah, I mean, but that's all perspective, I mean, I don't know. This feels like a whole different topic. So, but I hear you. So just go on with your theory. Just go on, because it's dicey. There's a lot to that.
It is dicey. It is dicey. But I think I wasn't trying to go too deep. I was just getting to that point that so often we become, and you say this about me a lot, that I become tentative about anything. I don't want to commit. I don't want to say that's the way it is, that I know this, or that's my experience, or I am this, because I haven't written the script that's sold, or I haven't written something and put it together in a book, that it's that thing of, I haven't done the thing that makes me legit in whatever it is
that society says
exactly
you've succeeded,
and that I have adopted now as my own belief about that. And as long as I'm holding that, then that's where I am, and that's what's coming up for me, and that's what's happening over and over, right?
Yeah.
And I think at some level that's true in all of our relationships. If we're constantly seeing this thing of, we don't really have what it takes, this isn't a good place for me to be working, this, those kinds of things, then that's what's fulfilled on a regular basis.
Right. And that is why it all goes back to, what are we believing? What are we talking to ourselves? What are we truly believing? It's one thing to know, God is good, God is love, I am love, we are love, love is happening. It's one thing to know that, and it's another thing to feel that, because it's all about the vibration, right? It's all about what we're calling in. It's all about, like prayer is a vibration. It's all about that the energy of what we're calling in. And can we really embrace that? Can't we really surrender to that?
Yeah.
And when I say that, I mean really, like all capitals. Like on your text, I would be yelling, can we really embrace that? Because what goes on in our head counts. Our body, we hear ourselves, our thoughts are heard, so if I'm thinking, yeah, but I really should, take another class before I write that script or whatever. We're putting that into the hopper, and it all gets it all holds us down. So it's, again, it goes back to last week. It goes back to that clearing. Can we have that clearing? And then can we sit? Can we have that visioning or that energetic that really allows us to know that we are here to be a beneficial force on this planet? And the way that that outpictures for me is to be the best mom that I can, for my kids, or to go out into the community and run for a position on the board of the city. What do you call it?
Like a supervisor,
Like a
or something.
council, like the city council. It doesn't have to be huge, but like whatever we're doing. And so I would even say, can we do it? Can we surrender to that on a daily basis? Can we wake up and go, this is going to be the best day yet? I'm going to surrender to the greatness around me and in everything, because that's the work. Sure, we can do it when we're like, okay, dress me up. I'm going to speak. I've got this great speech and I'm going to do a sermon, or I'm going to, do whatever it is we do, and we're prepared. But are we prepared, when the kids are screaming, or when it doesn't look the way we want, or it's raining outside and we really wanted it to be sunny, or it's too cold or too hot? We have a lot of first world problems. We really do. When we look around at what's going on in the world, how do you get up in the morning, or get out of bed, or get out from under the bed when there are bombs going off outside, or you don't know what's next? So that's what I have to say. I just think it's a constant thing, and we really, I don't know, we've got to be able to embrace that vibration. We've got to be able to find the grace and the goodness and the genius and the greatness. And I was really trying to come up with all G's. That was pretty good. Of what we want to see.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And I would just say, as a homework or as a thinking, I would just say to really breathe into that, to really be intentional. When you wake up in the morning, check in with what your first thoughts are. Is it, oh crap, alarm went off too soon, I don't want to get up yet, I don't want to, or is it really, okay, this is the day, this is a great day, and I'm lucky to be here, kind of thing. And really, as we start to shift that little vibration, I think that's when we shift the big vibration, right? And then we're able to live into our greatness. We're able to embody the vision.
So what I was thinking about was, last week we talked about clearing, releasing, getting rid of the stuff we didn't believe. And I think the idea of this assessing is assessing what are the things I'm going to replace some of that with? Like, do I need to put stuff in the soil? And I think that's what you're talking about is am I holding the space for it to be perfect? Am I holding the space for my partner to be perfect? Am I holding the space for whatever it is that is in my life right now? Am I able to see the perfection in it and hold it that way? Even when it's, for instance, it's a perfect day, even though it's raining. I don't have to say even though, but it's raining outside and it's a perfect day. That idea.
Yeah. Well, it's again, it comes to living in the present, right? Because it's a perfect day, and even though it's raining, we're living in the past. Yeah, and the future at the same time, right? We can't be in the past and the future. It's going to be a great day, even though it's raining. You know what I mean? And I heard Michael Beckwith say as well, if you're living in the past and the future, you're living in two tenses.
Oh my gosh.
But
that's
it's true,
deep.
right? I mean, but it's true because it's like we can't do that. We have to be, you know what I mean? We're creating a great day, even though it may have never been done before when it was raining for us. Rain may have meant, the end of the world for us, but can we be here like it's a great day, regardless of circumstance?
So we're running out of time because this has been
Can
so
we run
fascinating.
out of time?
Okay. She is really hard to work with. So we're coming up on the end of our time together today. But what I was reminded of, and this is a very practical, simple story, is when my kids were about 7, 6, 5, I don't know, somewhere in there. It was a very rainy day. And I packed them up in the van and I drove a half a mile or whatever it was to the big park. And we got out and we played in the rain until we were all soaking wet. And then we got back in the car and went home and blah, blah, blah. And we had a great day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very simple, very practical, but that's what we're talking about, I think.
Yep.
We're talking about I see the greatness here.
Yeah.
All I have to do is see it and allow it, and not try to fix it and manipulate it and make it different.
I don't even know that we really have to see it. We just have to believe it.
That may be true.
But certainly a topic for another time. So we're so glad you joined us. We're so glad you're here. And you know what to do. You know how to find us and all those things. RockinTheLove.com. And of course, if you would love to spread the love, we'd love to have you donate at New Thought Media Network. You can go to the website at ntmedia.org and /donate. And we are so appreciative and grateful. And that vibration we know vibrates and circulates and comes back to all of us tenfold plus. So please do what you can, and we'll do what we do right here.
Oh, I want to say before we go, real quickly,
Another short story.
Next week will be amending. So we're going to be adding into this garden so it can nourish everything that's in it. Ooh, doesn't that sound like fun? We're going to be talking about manure. Okay, maybe not.
Okay.
All right. So Awakening the Garden continues next week. And we are so grateful you've been with us today and look forward to seeing you again.
And feel free to comment on my ending would have been a lot better than going to manure. We love you. Keep rocking the love. And join us on New Thought Media Network for our other shows as well.